Being able to make music interesting through the rhythm as opposed to the notes means that you have double the amount of tools at your disposal. So let's take some really simple melodies and rhythmify them up. If you haven't already watched my video on beat divisions, make sure you check that out first, or if any of this is moving a little bit quickly for you, rewatch that. Otherwise, let's dive in. So Amy is acting as our metronome. She's playing our big beats. We have our handpan here. You can choose any 2 notes, and in fact it is good if you keep changing them up. But just for now, I'm going to pick my 2 lowest notes. This is an E sub I, but you will have a different pan probably, and that's fine too. The first thing we looked at was playing every single beat along with the metronome. So we're going to start off by doing that. But this time, because we're putting our hands on 2 different notes, we're going to start to hear a little melody coming out. Is it a melody if it's only 2 notes in Crochets? Maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just like before, we're using that simpler exercise, even though it's not that simple, to zone in, to make sure we're playing together and it's all sounding good. Let's take it up a level now and look at splitting it in 2. Now I'm still only going to be using these 2 notes. Got 1 hand on each. Now we're going to get that pattern 1 and 2 and 3 and go. 1, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and yeah. And what we could do is we're keeping them on 2 notes. I could just shift. Just shift. I take 1 bar on these 2 notes. And then 1 bar on these 2 notes. Suddenly, I think I have something that definitely is a melody already. Should we try that? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and change notes. 1, 2 and 3 and change again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and change 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And yeah, sounding funky. And that's just on the lower notes. Of course, keep on trying that, playing that in different places. Let's try breaking our melody into 3. Now we get our first interesting cross rhythm, sort of. Our hands are moving in 2, but we're counting 3 with our mouths. So we're going to have it going out of sync and back in. But as long as we're listening to that metronome and we're focused in, it's going to sound totally fine. So remember, that's 1 triplet. That's how we count it. We'll say a bar and then we'll play a bar. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And hopefully you can hear those different emphases. Makes it feel really nice. If you're not dancing along with us at home. So now when we start to use that same exercise of 1 bar on 2 notes and another bar on 2 different notes, it sounds really interesting. We hear all these different accents pinging out in different places. Should we try that? 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, off we go. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, change your hands. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, back down. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, up again. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Hey, nice. And finally, we looked at breaking it into 4. So the count here is 1 E and a. So we can do that exact same thing. We're back to the hand situation. And we know that our numbers are going to be linked up with the count again. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 4 E and a, woo! Yeah, okay, nice. Woo! I should not have just had a coffee. I feels it. Now we can do that same exercise, moving up and down each bar. Let's go! 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, change your hands. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, back down. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And it's really important, actually, with any of those. I hear so many students, they just drop off the end. So it's 3E and a 4E, what? 1E and a 2E. So make sure whenever you're doing these exercises, you're playing all the way to the end of the bar. Because it's the last one that happens before you change your hands, people often think it's not as important, but make sure you give it as much energy, time, even though it means a slightly faster shift with your hands. So let's try all of those exercises together. You got your 1, you got your 1 and, you got your 1 triplet, you got your 1E and. We're going to do a bar, so that's 4 beats of each of those. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a yeah! Awesome. That's just using 4 notes or 2 sets of notes. But even using that, that means we can suddenly have so much more access to different rhythms. Let's look at one way of combining them that's super interesting. So we'll do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplet. So we're taking the 2s, you like that? We're taking the 2s and just that last one we're varying it. So let's try and say it first. Let's go. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplet, 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 1. So you'll notice that the second half of the pattern, because we've done 1 extra beat, the other hand is now starting. So if it felt like it sounded a little bit upside down, you've got to think all the way to the end of 2 cycles to get that full pattern to reverse. 1 triplet, now we're starting with the left hand. Whenever I make exercises that are leading with your dominant hand, I always say go back, rewatch, try having another go leading with your non-dominant hand. I don't know how many of you do it, but this is a great example where you have to do it. So now we're leading with the other hand. These kinds of exercises, putting a triplet right at the end of whatever exercise you're doing, means that you have to practice it the other way. So it's a really helpful little trick to be able to do, and suddenly you've got twice as many exercises. Have a listen to this jam. You don't even have to play along, but count that pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Find that speed as we go through and see if you can notice whether it's triplets, semiquavers, 3s, 4s, 2s, any of those divisions as we go.
Maybe I'll change up the sound.
Whoa! I thought I was playing a kid. I'll leave that in.